Okay, away we go with the April test of, this is April of 2023, and it's the newest test, F11. The first one is a solver, so you can just go ahead and subtract 6x from both sides, and you get negative 2x minus 9 is negative 15. Add 9 to both sides, you get negative 6, and then divide by negative 2, and you get x is equal to 3. A great use of solver on the calculator is found this way. You go math last, and then you're into the solver. The left side of the equation is 4x minus 9, and the right side of the equation is 6x minus 15, and then you just have to hit OK twice for the solver, and then you can see the answer is x is 3. By the way, that's now solved as x on the calculator. This is the famous 2 lines cut by a transversal. So whatever this angle is, the 4 are that correspond and are vertical. We've got the lower ones are the obtuse ones. 2x plus 5 has to equal, and 135, subtract 5, divide by 2, and 130 divided by 2 is 65 for x. Geometric series means we're multiplying. What are we multiplying by each time? We're multiplying by negative 2. So negative 144 times negative 2 is your answer, 288, choice D. A yogurt shop has 6 flavors and 5 toppings. We're going to multiply those, and that makes 30 types of yogurts with the flavor and topping. I want to buy one of them, so what's the chance that it's my favorite? 1 out of 30, choice F. So what are we traveling at? We're traveling at 40 miles per hour, and we want to convert that into minutes. Minutes would mean if we go 40 miles an hour and we want to travel 100 miles, well, that would be 100 over x, with this being 40 miles in 1 hour, and we want it to be 100 miles in x hours. So cross multiply, 40x is 100, divide by 40, and you get 2 1/2 hours. Well, 2 hours is 120 minutes, plus 30 should give you 150 minutes. Choice D. The 3 angles of a circular region, this is a repeat type theme, have to add up to 360. So if the 3 are equal, it must be 120K. 7 is an abs on the calculator. You just put it into abs, and I always put these in straight through. Math, number, abs, 6 minus 5, minus a new abs, math number, abs, 3 minus 7. And that will give you the answer, negative 3, for the choice of B. Solving this equation, you could use solver again, and I'll just do it by hand. I subtract 1/4 to make 8, and then times it by the reciprocal 3/2, and the answer is 12. Okay, putting it straight into the solver, you would go math, last solver. It was 2/3 x plus 1/4. And then the other side, if you have the old calculator, I'm not sure you can put mixed numbers 8 and 1/4 into the abs, so you might want to check that application and do it another way. But the choice is 12. F. Rolling right along, the volume of a sphere formula is 4/3 pi r cubed. Careful, they gave us the diameter, so what I'm going to do is just put 5 cubed right here. You could also go 5 sto r if you wish and type it, right? But for our sakes, let's just go with the numbers. And when you type it in with the pi taken out, and you get choice D. You don't want to put the pi in, leave the pi out of your calculation. All right, what's this? The vertices of a rhombus. Well, since these are supposed to be parallel, 1, 2, 3, 4 up, and 1, 2, 3 over. 1, 2, 3, 4 up, 1, 2, 3 over. So the last vertice would have to be right here at 5, -1. We don't want to disturb the mix-up there. Scale drawing. Its width is 25 and 30. And a 3-inch line is the width. So what is the length? So you would crisscross. 25x is 90, and the answer is 90 over 25 mathafracca. So that would be 90, oops, I'm on equation solver. 90 divided by 25. And of course, I hit my favorite math frac, and that would give me 18 over 5. Alpha y equals 3, puts it as a mixed number, 3 3/5 for my answer C. Slope program. I currently don't have the programs on my calculator, but you would hit program slope and enter those two pairs, and that will give you F. So that's a calculator program to use. This is the vertical line test, and it's a vertical line has to go through the function of a graph only once, and this violates anything with the circle. There's a circle equation for you, center 1, 1, radius 3. So it's 1, 3, and 4 make it a function because it passes the vertical line test. This is a classic FOIL for x plus k times x plus k. You should be well versed in that. You get this, and that equals x squared. Too many variables to put into the k squares cancel, as do the x squares. And then you can divide by 2x, and that solves the k is 44, choice F. This is sort of a form. The LCD of the 3 is 90. So what do I have to multiply this by 30, and this one by 10, and this last one by only 9, and there it goes. It fits the bill for the answer. Another possibility would then to put it into the computer and check and see which answer works. That would be a little more time consuming. Famous question, a side of a square is 20 by 20, that makes the area 20 times 20, and the rectangle is 10 times what? So the answer is 10 times what gives you 400, and the answer, of course, is 40. A lot of people hate these with the counting of the time. I have no pride. 10:15 is when we start. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3:15 would be the passage of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours and 15 more minutes. So we have 5¼ hours, 5 hours and 15 minutes, with it snowing at the rate of 1/2 per hour. So that would be 5 1/4, or 5.25 times a half, which is 0.5. That would be easier. Math-a-frac if I need it, and alpha y equals 3 if I need it, to do the, 2 5/8 is what it's giving me. So it's choice E. Well, if I score 2 points higher on my 8 tests, then isn't the average going to be 2 points higher? Okay, so if I take each test 8 times the average, let's just call the average X, and then if I score 2 points higher on each one, then I would be 8 times X plus 2 to divide the total by 8 would be behoove you to see that the total of the second one, its average is just 2 points higher. Had to call up my stat buddies for this, but they're looking for the smallest interquartile, actually the greatest interquartile range. The inner quartile are the quadrants between 25 and 75 percentile. So this one would be 55, and all the others would be smaller. So the choice is A, has the largest, which is 55. Classic SOHCAHTOA. We're looking for Chief. If you like, you can get a reminder. You actually need SOHCAHTOA for this because it's tangent, because we have the opposite over the adjacent. The hypotenuse is out here and is not involved in the problem. So the answer is 200 times the tangent of 40. And I'll just do that on my handheld here, and I get 167. Don't be too scared, it's closest to the pin, which would be H. This is a classic simult. If you're doing my programs, simult works great. And what you do is enter 1, 1, 30, and 1, negative 1, 18. For those who are fans of doing things the long way, you just add them up. And X is 24. Make sure you're not solving for X. They want the Y. 24 plus what gives you 30, and the answer is 6. Simult would be a great program to learn. I kind of plugged and chugged for this one, and the answer is F. It has the greatest value. Let's see why. We have M is less than N, but they're both positive. So I just made up 5 and 10. I thought they might be good numbers to use. So what about F? It would be 5 plus 10 over 5. And then everything else is going to be smaller than that. This is going to have too big of a denominator. These two are going to be even, and this one is going to have a larger denominator, so it has to be F. The average has to be 30. That's what mean means, and they have to be consecutive. Consecutive means next door neighbors, so these are out. They're not consecutive, and then obviously average is total, so the total has to be 90, and that rules out 1 and 2 and 5 and leaves us only with choice D. 24 is a classic chief, and it makes the right triangle. It looks like A is the angle they're talking about. Where's 24? It's the opposite. What's 25? It's the hypotenuse. Now use your leg program. Leg will get you the third side right here. Again, I don't have my programs listed just yet. On my calculator was rebooted, so I have to do it that way. Now, what's the tangent is 24 over 7 is choice J. This is a repeat problem from December. There are 25 with power windows and 17 with heated seats. So the number of cars with both can be no more than 17 because there's only 17 with the heated seats. This is a kind of a repeat too of a ratio proportion. A biologist catches 200 fish, tags them, and releases them into the pond. And then he catches 120, and 32 have tags. So 32 are tagged out of the 120 that he caught, right? And then the 200 that he tagged with tagged, represents a portion of the whole pond. Cross multiply, and you get 200 times 120 divided by 32, and I get 750 is the estimated answer. And then here we go with percentages. So all of the percentages have to add up to 100. So 50 plus 4 plus x plus 2x plus 4 has to equal 100%. That's everybody. So 3x, you could put this in solver too. Plus 58 is 100. So 3x is 42. Divide by 3, and x is 14%. And now the 14 is x, and that would make for 100%. And now $100 was invested into the savings. So that's right here. Savings is 4% of the total, has to equal to the $100. So there you go. For that is if we got x, so the total would be 100 divided by 4%. I will do that on the calculator. 100 divided by 0.04. So 2,500 was invested total, and then Since X is 14, that's 32% is invested in the equities is the question. So it would be 2 times 14, 28 plus 4, 32% of the total. I got 800 for the answer C. Confusing little problem. Here, they won't tell me how many total there are because there's some yellows, and the choice of drawing a green is 14 out of the total, 2 over 15. So this will get me the total. It will be 15 times 14 divided by 2. So the total is 105. So now you just have to subtract the ones you know. 105 minus 21 minus 40 minus 14 gives me 30J for the yellows. Oh, a repeat problem, huh? We've been doing this one in class. So we drove 300 miles, but not in 12 hours because we rested 3 2-hour shifts. So the answer is 50. 300 divided by 6. Y'all will recognize that from last week. Oh, I get in trouble with these. What is the positive difference between the average distance for Mars and Mercury? So Mars, the difference of the sun is 141, and Mercury is 36. So I'm going to subtract those two numbers to get an answer. So the answer is 141.6 minus 36, 105.6, but that's in millions, so it's 105.6 times a million, which has 6 zeros, so the answer is J. That would be 105 million. Ooh, these get me. Which of the following is equal to the difference in feet per second between the gravitational acceleration of Venus, object near Venus, or Mercury? So first of all, the gravitational strength of surface gravity compared to Earth. So let's see, Earth would be 32.2, is the given, the strength is the percent of that, so it would be the difference in the two planets, Venus and Mercury. Venus is 90% of Earth, and that would be those two subtracted. So it would be choice B. There's the two subtracted times the percent. It's the percent of what it is on Earth. Ugh. And then for all planets, the equation models the relationship between the orbital speed in Earth days and the average distance. So according to this, which of the following is equal to Mercury's orbital period in Earth's days? So let's see, it would be T is the, it should be 0.4 times 6. Let's see, Mercury's orbital speed. Mercury's orbital speed is 88 days. And what does that mean? Let's see. The orbital speed in Earth days. D is the average distance in millions of miles from the sun. So the average distance from the sun is 36 million miles. So that would be 36 to the 1.5, and this is where you might have to get in a little trouble. 1.5 is to the 3/2, so that would be 36 to the 3/2, and many of y'all might recognize the square root of 36 is 6, and that's how you get the right answer, 6 out of that. Conversion. What do we have? The formula for C and the formula for K, Kelvin. What is the average temperature in kelvins at Mars? So Mars, where's average temperature? Here it is negative 85 Fahrenheit. So what do? Is you plug in negative 85 to the first formula, and that will give you the C. I'm using my own calculator for this, so I don't have to transfer. That would give me negative 65 for the C, and then I use the second formula, which is just take the C and add 273 to it, and I get 208 choice E for the Kelvin. That's a double plug-in to the formula. All right, so we need to know the square. The square is 12 by 12. So the area of that lane squared out is 12 times 12 minus the half circle. So I would definitely use a circle formula. 12 times 12. I would use the circle program to get the area of this circle. And that would be, to do that, I would plug in radius of 6, and I would get about 113 for the circle. And of course, we only have half of 113, so it would be 144 minus approximately 56.5, and that gives me an area of 87.5. And of course, then you got to look at cost. It costs $6.25 per square foot, and I get an answer of 546, which is going to round to C on my calculator. This is a famous one. It's cross multiply. Someone in my class the other day used Simult for this, and I was so proud of them that they thought of that. They just put in 3x minus y equals 2, and x plus y equals 4. I thought that was the cleverest thing I ever saw. I cross multiply and get 2x plus 2y is 12x minus 4y, and then I add the 4y, I get 6y equals, subtract, and get 10x. Now here's the hard part. You're getting the ratio x to y, so you want to divide by 10 and divide by y. X is to y as 6 is to 10, Mathafraka. What's this one? We serve grape juice from 12-ounce cans. She has 3 boxes that contain 12 such cans, so that's 36 times 12 ounces. What's 36 times 12 ounces? So she has on hand 432 ounces of this beverage, but she wants to serve 60 guests 8 ounces. So she wants 480. So she needs the subtraction of those two. She needs 48 more ounces, which means she only needs 4 more cans. It would be 48 divided by 12. I think that goes under mathematical story. This has to do with subtraction. If 3/5 of all the students ride the bike, the rest is 2/5 of the students, because it's 1 minus 3/5. The rest is 2/5 of those. 1/3 ride the bus, and 1/6 walk. So what fraction of the students ride the bus? 2/15. You can do this on your calculator, Matha-Fracka. The old addition of vectors, but we're doing v minus u. Well, v is that, minus u is that. So it would be 1, -3, and then you would give the minus to both of these and get -2, -7 would be the vector answer, which looks like choice B to me, if that's what indeed they are asking. Again, it's just subtract the x's and subtract the y's. Circumference of a circle program. It has a radius of, again, my programs are not on here. It has a radius of 49, which gives me a meter length of about 307. And I ran it 3 times, so about 921. So the choice here is definitely H, 921. $1,000 people ran the 5-mile race. So let's see what happens. 95% of those registered started. 90% people started the race of those registered, and 95% finished the race. So let's see, what is the total revenues from the entry? So that's 300 people paying the 25. 400 people are paying the 35, and what was that? 300 paid the late at 45. No point there, I'm sorry. So those I can add up on my calculator carefully. I'm typing it in rather than switching the screen. I get $35,000 in fees. So what's that? It's 3.5 times 10 to the 4th. If you wish to convert that, you could use the scientific. Kurt ran the first X miles of the race at the rate of 7 minutes a mile, and he ran the rest of the race at 8 minutes a mile. So which of the following gives us which of the following gives us a total amount of minutes it took Kurt to run the race? Right here. So he ran the first the first X miles at 7, which means he's going to have to run the rest of the 5. That's 5 minus X at 8. Match up K for the total. One registered person will be randomly selected to win the raffle prize. One registered person, which of the following is equal to the probability that the person did not finish the race? So 95% of the people finished, and 90% showed up. So that matchup to me looks like E, because it's 1 is the whole percentage, and then 90% of the people showed up, and 95% finished. So this would represent the numbers who did finish the race of the registered, and we're looking for the not finished, so not would be probability 1 minus who did. Yeah, this is the two solutions of an absolute value. One is negative and one is positive for the solution. So these two, if you wanted to break it down, 44, one of the two solutions here would be a solution for the second one, because the second one lists the negative solution only. This one would have both positive and negative solutions. So that has to do with whatever you're solving an absolute value equation, it would have two solutions. I changed it to be something simple. This would be the same type of number. It would just be whatever the cross multiplication gives you, and the second one only gives you the negative answer, not the positive. So this one would have one of the solutions of 1 is also a solution of 2, not the other way around, because there's only one solution to this one. This is a repeat. You just need to know the volume of the box, and the answer is C. Let's see why. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So the volume of the box that's how many cubes there are, is 100. You could also use the box program to get that. And of course, half of them will be white and half of them will be black. 46 is tough. The x-intercepts are symmetric. Here's the thinking. If you have an x-intercept here and here in a parabola, the symmetrical place lies right between them. So it has to be the average of the two solutions. Add them up and divide by 2, and you get x is 9. X is 9 would be the line of symmetry for that parabola. Here's a repeat. It is the 330th digit of 6238. 6238, 6238. If you think I'm counting to 330, you're out of your mind. What do? I divide by 4, and that means there are 82 perfect trips. 2 times 4 is 8, and the remainder is 2. Since the remainder is 2, it's the second decimal place, what's left over, because when I run through 82 times, I basically do 328 decimals, so there are 2 more in the next one. So it's the second place. Those who took my class will remember that one. What's this? The common denominator of the fraction. Wish I could do killer cross, but it has to be a plus b, a minus b. Now what do I multiply this one by? A minus b. What do I multiply this one by? A plus b. And the last one I don't multiply by anything but a minus b, huh? So what does that give me? It gives me a denominator of a plus b times a minus b, and the numerator is going to be a little ugly. It's a squared minus ab plus ab plus b squared, and the last one is going to be that FOIL. And now hopefully there'll be some cancellations. AB's gone, and we end up with, I think, 2a squared minus 2ab plus 2b squared. Looks like I can factor out the 2 from that, and that's probably what they want for the numerator. Let's see. 2, there it is. 2 of all of them over, it's got to be choice H. So what's this? The prime factorization of 63, counting repetition, so 63 would be 9 times 7, and 9 would be 3 times 3 times 7, and that's to the 5th power. So to me, it looks like there are 3 factors listed 5 times, so the answer is 15, choice B. Oh, the mean, median, mode people are going to love me. Here's a great chance to practice. For whole numbers, the list below has 4 as its mean, median, and mode. So they're looking for the value of x, y. If 4 is to be the, let's see, we've got a 1, 2, a 4, and a 6, and an x and a y. If 4 is going to be the mean, median, and mode, there's got to be a 4 in the one of them. It might be x, has to be a 4. Now, here's where it gets crazy. There are 6 numbers. Average is total, so 6 times 4, the sum has to be 24. So take away 1, 3, 7, 11, 17, because there's 17 already there, which means the other number has to be a 7. So one of the numbers has to be 4, and one of the numbers has to be 7. So the product has to be J, 28. Isn't that neat? The sum of the y-intercepts. Well, the y-intercept of G is whenever the x is 0. So the y-intercept's always the number hanging out. For f, you got to FOIL it out. X squared minus 6x minus 16. The x0 makes these 0. So there are your two y-intercepts, and their sum has to be negative 28. Oh boy. The tablecloth is by 4, each 2 inches wide and 36 long. So each one of them is 36 times 2, which is 72 for the area, right? And there are 4 of them, so 288. Not so fast. There are some overlapped divisions that I am counting twice. So who are these overlapped divisions? They are right here as the 4 squares. So that would be each square is 2 times 2, 4, and I've got 4 of them. So this has an overcount of 16. So when I do the area, I have to subtract the overcount to get 272, choice F. Oh, the famous star operation. So this means A triangle B, or A whatever that is, diamond. A diamond B is the first one, A, plus the product of the two, and then we want that star B, and star means we take the product of the two, A plus AB times B, I'll put it in the front, plus the second one, who is B. So now if I multiply that out, that's AB squared plus AB plus B. Now I gotta find it. Oh, I have it matched up perfect. It's D for the answer. Okay. So if this is equal, if x to the y times x to the k, that would be x to the y plus k, has to equal 1. Well, isn't 1 x to the 0 power? So y plus k has to equal 0. That's that old trick with 1 has to be the 0 power. Alright, my awesome Quad 2002 solves any quadratic, and that's a program. Love it. If you're doing it by hand, A would be 3, B would be 1, and C would be 5. So we would get negative B plus or minus over 2A. And then the B squared would be 1 minus 4 times A times C would be 60, so negative 59. That would have to bring the I out, and I now see the answer is D. Almost done. This is an ellipse, and ellipses are supposed to be divided by the 36 to get the intercepts. This would be x squared over 9 plus y squared over 4. That would give you an x stretch of 3 and a y stretch of 2, and your ellipse would look like that. Now, one of the following circles can be inscribed, certainly not this one, because the radius is 6, it would go way outside. These centers would be way outside, so we're down to G and H. Guess which one? It can't be a radius of 3, because it would go outside the y stretch, which is only 2. So the answer is H, 456. All my students all ask me about this one, and it really could be just if you cut it in half. You see, this arc's got to be 60, and this is the old inscribed. It's got to be 30 degrees. So if you took this and cut it in half, that little skinny circle, this would have to be 15, and all circles on the ellipse would have to be isosceles. So this is really isosceles triangle. So it's 15 and 15. Another way to think about it would be this arc would have to be 120, which would make this guy 120. No. It would make this one 150, because if I kept cutting, I would cut this in half. So that would be another way to do it. But the answer has to be B for angle ABC right here, because of the isosceles triangle theorem. So this is just counting numbers, basically. A is an even prime number, so A has to be 2. B is an odd integer between 6 and 11. And C has to be a perfect square. Well, who's a perfect square between there? 4 and 5. 6 squared would be 36, and 3 squared would be 9. So there's one number for A, 2 for B, and 2 choices for C. So if I have to list all the possibilities, it's 1 times 2 times 2. So 4 possibilities for the number. That's strange. And no law cosines. We're looking for angle B, so who knows the law of cosines? 21 squared has to equal the other 2 squareds minus twice their product times the cosine of B, which is ultimately what I have to solve for. So you have to go 21 squared minus the 2 other squares, and then divide by negative the product. That would give you the cosine of B. So there it is. One of my students got it right by saying, hey, he told us to look at the minuses. Now be careful. Domain is the x's, and it's for the inverse function. So inverse means the x's and y's switch. So the y for the graph is between what? -2 and 2. So that's the domain of the inverse. If we stood this graph on its side, it would be defined between -2 and 2. That's all, folks.